How does class play a role in TV shows, Stranger Things? So in terms of the story, class plays a foundational role in driving the plot forward. The main crew are portrayed to have middle-class families, namely the Wheelers, the Byers, the Sinclairs, Hendersons, etc. However, as the episodes go on, we get to learn that many of the crew members that we know about are missing crucial family roles, with Hopper missing most of his family members, some of the kids' father figures leaving them, with some like Will, Max, and Dustin's family. And all of this reveals the reality of American homes. Not all homes have the typical idyllic upper-class nuclear families that were popular back in the 50s and 70s. Though later in the seasons, it does maintain a hopeful perspective of kindling new relationships, especially between Hopper and Joyce. Now in season 3, this is where we see a lot of the examples of class conflict with the introduction of the Starcourt Mall. Now the location is actually based on a real life place called the Gwinnett Place Mall. And to give a little short history lesson, malls were first invented in the 50s by an Austrian architect named Victor Gruen. Now he created these malls to imitate the feeling of being in a European town square, but in America, where he emigrated into. However, over time, it became more of a shopping center for retailers, and as a result of that, it outcompeted local businesses, putting mom and pop shops out of business. And we see this in a scene where Joyce is operating inside an empty general store, and then in another scene, we see a group of people outside the Hawkins Town Hall protesting against the construction and operations of the Starcourt Mall. And this is due to the upper class, and in this sense, Larry Klein, the mayor, were the ones who were prioritizing profits at the expense of local businesses. And in the story, the ones who funded for the creation of the mall is none other than the USSR, a government with the opposing ideology of Western capitalism. Now, if you didn't know, the USSR is a communistic regime who are aiming to try and create a classless society, owning the means of production, i.e. factories, and whatnot, and they try to do it through a Marxist-Leninist lens, which includes creating a vanguard group to rule over proletariats, the workers, in order to reach the end goal. However, as we see throughout the episodes, some of the Russian characters who've come over to the US have actually indulged themselves in American consumerism, namely Alexei, a Russian scientist. There are many episodes we see him enjoy eating fast food, 7-Eleven, as well as Yuri, a smuggler who kidnaps Joyce and Murray, who also smuggles a bunch of peanut butter to bring back to his home country. And these two characters kind of showcase the brutality of living under a communist regime, who basically restrict their own citizens from experiencing the outside world of the free market.